For 99% of human history, your ancestors were time billionaires. That's a fact. While you're grinding through a 40-hour work week, people in the Stone Age were only working about 17 hours a week to stay alive. No emails, no boss, no morning commute. That leaves a massive 150-hour hole in the schedule every single week. So what did they do with all that dead air? They didn't just sit in the mud waiting for the sun to go down. They played music on flutes made from bird bones, gambled with their souls on board games, and organized sports so extreme they make the Super Bowl look like a playground. How ancient people had fun isn't just a history lesson, it's a mirror held up to your own life. The Stone Age wasn't just a brutal fight for survival, it was a social club. Anthropologists have found that early tribes spent hours every day doing nothing but socializing. They talked, they laughed, they groomed each other. This was the original social media. In a world without banks or police, your social standing was your only safety net. Being fun and well-liked was a literal survival skill. If the tribe thought you were boring or a jerk, you were out. And being solo in the wild meant you were basically a snack for a leopard. So your personality was your armor. But the real party started after the sun went down. This was the birth of the world's first Netflix, the campfire. Before books or the internet, storytelling was everything. The best storyteller wasn't just an entertainer. They were the most valuable person in the group. They encoded survival data into myths. A story about a fire-breathing mountain was actually a warning about a volcano. We are hardwired to binge-watch shows today because for 300,000 years, a good story was the difference between life and death. And there was always a soundtrack. We found flutes made from bird bones in Europe that are over 35,000 years old. Think about that. These people were surviving an ice age, fighting off mammoths, and they still took the time to master the acoustics of a wing bone. Music is likely the oldest form of entertainment we have. It was a tool to sync up the whole tribe's heartbeat. When everyone dances to the same rhythm, they stop being individuals and start being a single, coordinated machine. Then things got competitive. Fast forward to 2600 BC in Mesopotamia. Archaeologists found something called the royal game of Ur. Everyone played it, from kings to the guys hauling bricks. It was a race game, a battle of strategy and luck. But in ancient Egypt, they took it a step further with a game called Senet. This wasn't just a game, it was a religious simulation of the afterlife. The board had 30 squares representing the journey of the soul. If you won, it was a sign your soul was ready to unite with the gods. You weren't just playing for bragging rights, you were practicing for eternity. This drive to compete eventually turned into the ultimate spectacle, the Olympic Games in 776 BC. Forget the modern Nike ads, the original Olympics were a religious frenzy. Men competed entirely naked, covered in olive oil, under a brutal sun to honor Zeus. The sports were raw. Pankration was essentially MMA with almost no rules. Biting and eye gouging were discouraged, but that was about it. To the Greeks, the athlete's agony was a sacrifice. It was the highest form of entertainment, divine favor or literal death. But the Greeks also knew how to relax. They had symposiums. On paper, these were meetings for intellectuals to discuss philosophy. In reality, they were high-stakes drinking contests. The goal was to drink as much wine as possible while still sounding smart. Usually, it just ended in a loud, drunken brawl. It's a classic human move. We try to act sophisticated, but eventually, we just want to let loose with our friends and argue about the universe. The Romans turned this into a science. They called it bread and circuses. As long as the people were fed and entertained, they wouldn't revolt. The Colosseum hosted 100 days of games a year. That's a massive show every 3 days. You'd sit in the stands and watch gladiators or chariot races. It's exactly like modern UFC or an NFL game. We still use stadium spectacles to distract ourselves from the chaos of real life. A Roman citizen from 80 AD would walk into a modern stadium today and know exactly what to do, scream for their favorite team and eat some snacks. The most human part of this story isn't the massive stadiums, though. It's found in the dirt. Archaeologists have found terracotta dolls, wooden pull toys, and leather balls from thousands of years ago. A kid 2,000 years ago played with a ball exactly like a kid does today. A spinning top, found in a Greek tomb, is basically a 3,000-year-old fidget spinner. This proves the drive to play is hardwired into our DNA. It's how we learn to be social. It's how we learn to be people. Today, we spend our leisure time staring at 4K screens. It's an incredible jump from a bone flute in a cave to a smartphone. but the underlying drive is identical. We are still social creatures, trying to escape the pressure of survival. We are still looking for a story that makes sense of the mess. We've gained a lot of comfort: Amazon Prime, air conditioning, and fast food. But we've lost that time billionaire status of our ancestors. We've turned leisure into something we have to earn through a 40-hour work week rather than something that is our birthright. Maybe the people of the Stone Age understood something we've forgotten. Fun wasn't a luxury you squeezed into the weekend. It was the primary purpose of being alive. It was how they bonded, how they learned, and how they stayed sane in a dangerous world. They didn't work to live, they lived to play. The next time you feel guilty for sitting on the porch and doing absolutely nothing, remember, you're practicing a 300,000-year-old tradition. You aren't being lazy, you're being human. Life isn't about your productivity or your output. It's about how many moments you were actually present enough to enjoy the world around you. We're the only species that can turn a vibration in the air into a song and a pile of stones into a game. Don't let that gift go to waste. Play the game. Tell the story. You were designed to do more than just survive. You were designed to have fun.